These are the stories from the Citadel. Some end in fire, some end in ice. All of them end with you wishing you'd subscribed sooner.
What if Arya Stark mastered the Faceless Men faster than anyone expected, and returned to Westeros as something the world had never seen? Let's explore this alternate timeline together in the video. The road north from the Twins is colder than Arya remembers. Snow has begun falling in earnest across the Riverlands, and the wind carries the kind of chill that seeps through cloaks and leather and settles into bone. She and Sandor travel as a monk and his servant, two figures that no patrol would bother questioning. Behind them, the Twins smoulders with rumour and ash, and every raven leaving the Riverlands carries the same message. The Freys are broken, the Wolf Girl did it, and no one knows where she's going next.
You've been quiet since the Twins. 3 days without a word. That's not like you.
I'm thinking.
About what? You got what you wanted. Walder Frey's dead, his sons are dead. The castle belongs to whatever Riverlord has the stones to claim it. What's left to think about?
The Boltons. Winterfell is different from the Twins. The Freys were arrogant and careless. They thought their walls would protect them because they always had. Roose Bolton is not arrogant. He's careful, patient, and he's already heard what happened. By the time we reach the north, he'll have changed every guard rotation, dismissed every servant he doesn't personally trust, and sealed every passage I might use.
So you can't do what you did at the Twins. Walk in as a kitchen girl and open the gates from inside.
No. Roose will be expecting exactly that. He knows what I am now. Every lord in Westeros knows. The girl with many faces. The ghost in the servant halls. That story worked because nobody believed it was real. Now they believe it. And a weapon that everyone expects is a weapon that doesn't work.
Then what? You can't just knock on the front gate and ask them to surrender.
No, but I don't need to get inside the walls. I just need the walls to fall on their own. The Freys collapsed because I killed the right people at the right time. The Boltons are already collapsing. I just need to make sure they finish the job.
How?
Ramsay. He's the crack in the foundation. Every report I've heard says he's losing his mind. He's flaying servants, executing guards, changing rooms every night. He trusts no one. And a man who trusts no one is a man who is already alone, even in a castle full of soldiers.
And Roose? He's not Ramsay. He won't panic.
No, Roose won't panic. Roose will calculate. He'll see the situation clearly, understand that his position is untenable, and start looking for a way out. And that's when he's most dangerous, because a cornered Bolton doesn't fight. He negotiates. He betrays. He finds whatever deal keeps him alive. Roose betrayed Robb Stark at the Red Wedding because he calculated that the Lannisters would win. If he calculates that I will win, he'll try to betray Ramsay and offer me terms.
Would you accept them?
No, but I'd let him believe I would. Long enough for him to make his move against Ramsay. Let the Boltons destroy each other. Then I walk through whatever's left.
That's cold.
I learned from the best. The kindly man used to say that the most efficient kills are the ones where you never draw a blade. You just arrange the pieces and let human nature do the rest. Greed, fear, jealousy, pride, they're all poisons. You just have to put them in the right cup.
The kindly man was right, but he left out the most important part. Don't hesitate. Don't second guess it. The moment you start feeling sorry for the people you're about to destroy, you lose the only advantage you have: speed and certainty. I learned that watching men die my whole life. The ones who hesitate are the ones who end up in the ground. Your brother hesitated at the Twins. He showed mercy to Walder Frey when he should have taken his head for being difficult. And mercy is what killed him.
I don't intend to show mercy.
Good, because mercy is a luxury for people who've already won. You haven't won yet. The Boltons betrayed your family at a wedding feast. They flayed innocent people for sport. They hunted girls with hounds. These are not men who deserve the benefit of the doubt. These are men who deserve to be unmade. And you don't unmake men by being fair. You unmake them by being thorough.
If that makes me cold, then I'll be cold. The North is cold. I was built for it.
Now you're starting to sound like someone worth following.
They push north through the neck, avoiding the Kingsroad and traveling through the marshes and bogs that most armies would never attempt. Arya moves through the terrain with the ease of someone who has spent years learning to be uncomfortable. Sandor struggles more, his bad leg sinking into the mud, but he does not complain. He has learned that complaining around Arya accomplishes nothing except giving her ammunition. As they cross into the north, the signs of Bolton rule become visible. Villages are emptier than they should be. Fields that should be harvested lie fallow. The people who remain are thin and watchful, and they flinch when strangers approach. But Arya notices something else. The people recognize her, not her face. She is wearing the features of a middle-aged crofter's wife, but the idea of her. When she stops at a farmstead and asks for water, the woman who answers the door studies her for a long moment.
You're wondering if I'm her, the wolf girl?
The woman says nothing, but she fills the water skin and adds a heel of bread without being asked. When Arya turns to leave, the woman speaks.
She told me something. She said the North remembers, and she said that when the time comes, the people who helped the Starks would not be forgotten.
It is a lie. The woman said nothing of the sort, but the story will spread, and each time it spreads, it will grow. A farm wife who helped the wolf girl, a stable boy who hid her horse, a cook who left a door unbarred. The myth feeds on itself, and every person who repeats it becomes part of the network, whether they know it or not.
You just lied to that woman. You told her you were the wolf girl's ally. You're not. You are the wolf girl.
I know, but the story works better this way. If I'm everywhere, I'm nowhere. If every farmer and washerwoman in the north believes they might be helping the wolf girl without knowing it, then the Boltons have to treat every farmer and washerwoman as a potential threat.
You're weaponizing rumor, turning stories into soldiers.
Stories are better than soldiers. Soldiers can be countered and flanked and killed. Stories just keep growing. A farmer tells his neighbor, the neighbor tells a trader, the trader tells a stable boy at an inn, and suddenly the wolf girl was seen in 3 different villages on the same night. That's not possible, but nobody questions it, because the story is better than the truth. And the story says she can be anywhere.
The faceless men taught you this.
No, this I learned in the Riverlands. I learned that people will believe whatever makes them feel less powerless. The small folk have been stepped on for centuries. They need to believe that someone is fighting for them. I'm giving them that belief. And in return, they give me something more valuable than any army. They give me information and silence. They see things and they tell me. They hear things and they don't tell anyone else. I have 1,000 spies, and none of them know they're spying. They just think they're helping a girl they heard about in a story.
And what happens when the story gets too big? When someone tells a version where the wolf girl burned a village or killed children. Stories grow in every direction, not just the ones you want.
Then I correct it. I appear as someone new and tell the right version. I put a face on in one village and take it off in the next. The truth I want keeps spreading, and the lies die because nobody repeats them. The faceless men taught me how to control what people see. The Riverlands taught me how to control what they believe. Put those 2 things together and you have something more powerful than any army or dragon.
You've thought about this a lot.
I've been planning this since Bravos. Every night before I fell asleep, instead of counting my list, I started planning how to use each name. Not just how to kill them, how to make their death mean something. How to turn each death into a message that changes the way people think about power. Walder Frey's death wasn't just revenge. It was proof that no castle is safe. The Bolton's fall won't just be justice. It will be proof that the people the lords ignore are the ones who decide who rules.
Your father used to say that the man who passes the sentence should swing the sword. Something tells me he didn't mean this.
No, he meant it should be personal. He meant you should look a man in the eye before you kill him. I agree with that part. I've looked every one of them in the eye. I just made sure they didn't see me until I wanted them to.
In Winterfell, the decay is already advanced. Ramsay has executed 7 servants in the past month. 3 were accused of spying. 2 were accused of leaving doors unlocked. 1 was flayed because she dropped a tray. The 7th was a stable boy who simply ran. Roose Bolton watches his son with the cold, measured gaze of a man who sees the end approaching but cannot stop it.
You are doing exactly what she wants. Every servant you punish becomes a martyr. Every guard you dismiss becomes a man with nothing to lose. You are emptying this castle of loyalty and filling it with fear, and fear does not hold walls.
Ramsay rages, but Roose continues, his voice never rising above a murmur.
I have survived 3 decades in the North by understanding one principle that you have never grasped. Power is not the ability to hurt people. It is the ability to make people believe that serving you is safer than opposing you. The moment that belief breaks, the power is gone. You have shattered it. Every flayed body on the walls tells the small folk that serving the Boltons means death regardless of loyalty. You have given them nothing to lose. I took Winterfell because the Starks trusted the wrong people. I held it because the North feared what I would do if they rebelled. Both of those advantages are gone. The Stark girl has shown the North that trust is a weapon, not a weakness. And you have shown them that fear cuts both ways. We are surrounded by people who would open our gates tomorrow if someone asked them to. And someone is asking, do you understand what she has done? She has turned the very foundation of lordship against us. For 1,000 years, nobles have ruled because the small folk served without question. They served because they had no alternative. But now they have one. They have seen that a serving woman can bring down a castle, that a kitchen boy can poison a lord, that the people we treat as furniture can choose to be weapons. Once that idea takes root, it cannot be uprooted, not by swords, not by flaying, not by anything we possess. I have calculated every move I have ever made. I betrayed Robb Stark because I calculated that the Lannisters would win. I took Winterfell because I calculated that no one would stop me. But I cannot calculate against a girl who turns calculation itself into a weapon. She does not fight battles. She arranges circumstances. She does not command armies. She whispers to serving girls. And every whisper becomes a blade pointed at our throats. This is not a war I know how to win. It may not be a war that can be won.
Meanwhile, across the narrow sea, the House of Black and White has received troubling reports. A former acolyte is operating in Westeros, using their techniques for personal vengeance and political assassination. The kindly man sits in his chamber and reads the accounts with growing concern. The poisoning at the Fry hold fast, the locked room killing at the Twins, the infiltration network built from servants and small folk. Every detail carries the signature of a faceless man, but the purpose behind them violates everything the Order stands for. He summons the Waif.
She is using everything we taught her, the faces, the poisons, the infiltration methods. But she is not giving the gift. She is taking revenge. She is dismantling noble houses and building networks of loyalty. She is making herself into something that serves her own will, not the many-faced god.
Then she must be stopped. The Order cannot allow an apostate to operate with our methods. If the Lords of Westeros learn that our techniques can be turned against them by any angry girl with a grudge, they will come for us. Every contract, every relationship we have built over centuries will be endangered.
I know. That is why I'm sending you. Find her and remind her of what we are.
And if she will not be reminded,
Then give her the gift. But be careful. She was the most talented student I have ever trained. And unlike you, she has something to fight for. That makes her unpredictable. You will follow the teachings. You will be disciplined and methodical. She will break every rule you know because the rules mean nothing to her anymore. Do not underestimate what purpose does to a person. I have seen acolytes lift weights they should not be able to lift and endure pain that should have killed them because they had a reason. She has more reasons than any student I have ever known.
I am not afraid of her.
Then you have already made your first mistake. Fear is not weakness. Fear is information. It tells you that the thing in front of you is dangerous. Arya Stark is the most dangerous student I have ever released into the world. Be afraid. It will keep you alive long enough to complete the task.
The Waif arrives in Westeros on a trading vessel from Pentos. She is patient and methodical, tracking Arya through the servant networks, through the rumors, through the patterns of death that follow the wolf girl across the north. Arya senses the pursuit before she sees it. Something changes in the texture of the rumors reaching her. A question asked in the wrong town. A face that appears twice where it should appear once.
Someone is following us. Not Bolton men. Someone better. Someone who knows how to ask questions without being remembered.
How do you know?
Because I used to do the same thing. When the House of Black and White sent me on contracts, I would spend days in a city before making a move. I would ask questions in markets and taverns, always casual, always in character, but the questions would follow a pattern, each one narrowing the search, each one getting closer. Someone is doing that now, in the villages behind us, and the questions are about a girl traveling with a large, scarred man.
The faceless men.
I knew this would happen eventually. They can't let an apostate walk free. It threatens their entire model. If one student can leave and use their methods for personal reasons, then others will follow. The House of Black and White survives because everyone believes that once you enter, you either serve or you die. I proved that isn't true. That's more dangerous to them than anything I've done to the Freys.
And can they kill you? Honestly?
They trained me. I trained with them. We know the same techniques, the same poisons, the same methods. It would be like fighting my own shadow. The question is, which one of us is better at being no one?
That's the wrong question. The right question is, which one of you has more to lose? You have a name, a home, and a list of people you still want to see again. They have nothing. Nothing is harder to beat than nothing.
Unless nothing is also their weakness. A faceless man has no identity, no attachments, no reason to fight beyond the contract. I have all of those things. That means I'll fight harder. I'll take risks they won't. And I'll do things that would never occur to someone who has forgotten what it means to want something.
Such as?
Such as using myself as bait. A faceless man would never do that. They would never risk the mission by putting themselves in danger. But I know exactly how they think. They'll follow the trail I leave. They'll track me to a location of my choosing, and then they'll discover that the prey they were hunting has been hunting them.
The confrontation comes on a frozen road outside Winterfell. Arya has been preparing for weeks, laying false trails and feeding misinformation into the network she knows the waif is tapping. She leads her hunter to a clearing in the Wolfswood, where the snow lies thick and the trees stand like silent witnesses. It is the same forest where she once rode with Robb and Jon, racing through the pines while Bran waved from the tower. She chose this place deliberately. She wants to fight for something she remembers. The waif appears wearing the face of a northern girl. She drops the disguise as she steps into the clearing, revealing the face Arya remembers from Braavos, cold, sharp, and utterly empty.
The kindly man sends his regards. He wanted me to remind you of your obligations.
I have no obligations to the House of Black and White. I learned what I needed and I left. The Order doesn't own me.
You did not leave. You stole. You took our methods, our faces, our poisons, and you used them for something the many-faced god never intended. Personal vengeance, political destruction. You have made our order a weapon for your own war. Every lord in Westeros now knows that faceless men techniques exist. They will start looking for us. They will start hunting us. You have endangered centuries of work.
The Lords of Westeros have always known the faceless men exist. They hire you when it's convenient and pretend you don't exist when it's not. Nothing I've done changes that. I haven't told anyone about the House of Black and White. I haven't revealed any secrets. I've simply used skills that I earned with my own blood and my own suffering.
Skills that belong to the Order.
Skills belong to the person who learned them. You taught me to become no one. Congratulations. I became no one so well that I can become anyone I want, whenever I want, and there's nothing you can do about it. That's not theft. That's graduation.
The kindly man predicted you would say something like that. He said you were the most talented student he ever trained. He also said you were the most dangerous. Come back to Braavos, surrender the faces, serve as you were taught, or I will give you the gift myself.
You can try, but I should warn you, the kindly man was right about me. I do hold tighter to myself after every death, and that means I have something you don't, a reason to win. You're here because someone sent you. I'm here because I chose to be. That's the difference between a weapon and a person. The weapon does what it's told. The person does what she believes.
Belief is irrelevant. Only the gift matters.
Then come and give it.
The fight is silent and brutal. Two girls trained by the same masters, moving through the snow with the precision of dancers and the intent of killers. The waif is fast and technically perfect, every strike placed exactly where it should be. But Arya fights differently. She fights dirty, improvising, using the terrain, throwing snow in the waif's eyes, leading her over hidden routes and frozen streams. She fights like someone who learned in the streets of King's Landing and the roads of the Riverlands before she ever set foot in a temple. Sandor watches from the tree line, his hand on his sword. Arya told him not to intervene. This is between her and the Order, between who she was trained to be and who she chose to become. The fight ends when Arya leads the waif onto a stretch of ice she has been watching crack all morning. The waif steps onto it, and Arya drops low as the surface gives way. The cold water swallows the waif's legs, and Arya is on her in an instant, needle at her throat. For a moment, the two of them are still. The only sound is the wind through the pines and the cracking of ice beneath them.
Tell the kindly man something for me. Tell him he was right. I am something they never intended to create, but I am not their enemy. I have never revealed the House of Black and White. I have never sold their secrets. I have never taken a contract that was meant for them. I am doing what the many-faced god demands. I am giving the gift to men who have earned it. If the Order cannot see the difference between justice and murder, then the Order has forgotten what death is for.
That is blasphemy.
Maybe, but the phrase broke guest right, the most sacred law in the world. If the many-faced god doesn't care about that, then every wedding, every feast, every oath sworn over bread and salt means nothing. I don't believe that, and I don't think the god of death does either. Go home, tell them to leave me alone, and tell them if they send anyone else, I'll know they're coming before they reach the shore.
You are making a mistake.
I've made nothing but mistakes since the day they killed my father, but I'm still here, and the people who made me are not. That should tell you something.
She lets the waif go. It is the most dangerous decision she has ever made. A faceless man released is a faceless man who knows your location, your methods, and your weaknesses. But Arya understands something the Order does not. Killing the waif would confirm their fears. Releasing her sends a different message. I'm not afraid of you, and I'm not finished.
You should have killed her.
If I killed her, they'd send 2 more. If I let her go, they have to decide whether hunting me is worth the cost. The faceless men are practical above all else. They'll calculate the risk and decide I'm not worth the trouble, for now.
And when they change their minds,
Then I'll be ready. I'll always be ready. That's the gift they gave me. The ability to never stop watching, never stop preparing, never stop being afraid in the way that keeps you alive. They taught me to live with a blade at my throat and smile about it. I should thank them, really.
you're terrifying, you know that?
Good, that's the point. Now stop talking about assassins and help me figure out how to take Winterfell.
Winterfell falls without a siege. It falls the way Arya planned it, from the inside. The servants she has been contacting for months open the gates at midnight. Not all of them, just 3. A stable boy who lost his father to Ramsay's hounds, a washerwoman whose sister was flayed for dropping a plate, and a cook who has been quietly poisoning Ramsay's food for weeks. Not enough to kill, just enough to keep him sick, irritable, and unable to think clearly. The Bolton garrison does not fight to the last man. Most of them have been watching the walls close in for months. They know what happened at the Twins. They know their lord is going mad, and their warden cannot stop it. When the gates open, and a column of northern men pour through, led by Mormonts and Glovers, who have been waiting in the Wolfswood for Arya's signal, the Bolton soldiers throw down their weapons. They have been waiting for permission to surrender, and the open gates give it to them. When Arya walks through the gates of Winterfell, she is wearing her own face. She walks through the courtyard, where she learned to shoot arrows. She walks past the kitchens, where she used to steal lemon cakes. She walks through the godswood, where her father cleaned ice. Everything is exactly where she left it, and nothing is the same. Sandor finds her standing before the heart tree, not kneeling, standing. Her hand rests on the trunk, and her expression is unreadable.
You did it. You're home.
I know.
That's it? No speeches? No tears? You've been chasing this moment for years.
The girl who left this place would have cried. She would have knelt in front of this tree and begged the old gods to bring her family back. But that girl died somewhere on the Kingsroad, or at Harrenhal, or in Bravos. I don't know exactly when. All I know is that the person standing here isn't her, and that person doesn't cry. She finishes what she started.
Good. Crying never helped anyone. I watched men cry before they died. It didn't stop the sword. I watched women cry after their villages burned. It didn't put the fires out. Your father had the right idea. He kept his face still. He did what needed doing, and he saved his grief for the godswood where nobody could see it. But even that was too much. Grief makes you slow, and slow gets you killed.
Is that what you believe? That feeling nothing is strength?
No, feeling nothing is what my brother does. That makes you a monster. What I believe is that you feel everything, but you don't let it change what you do. You let the anger sit in your chest like a coal, And you use it for heat, not for fire. Fire burns out of control. Heat keeps you moving when everything else is frozen. That's what I learned after my brother held my face to the coals. I didn't stop feeling. I just stopped letting it decide for me.
The faceless men tried to teach me the same thing. They called it emotional stillness, but they wanted me to become empty. You're telling me to become full and then control it.
Because empty is useless. Empty doesn't take Winterfell. Empty doesn't build a spy network or turn the Boltons against each other. You need the anger. You need the grief. You need to remember what they did to your family every single day. Not to wallow in it, to weaponize it. That's what separates you from every other killer I've ever met. You're not doing this because you enjoy it. You're doing this because it needs doing, and you won't stop until it's done.
The kindly man warned me that I hold tighter to myself after every kill. He said it would make me dangerous.
He was right. But dangerous isn't the same as lost. Lost is my brother. Lost is Ramsay Bolton. They kill because the killing is all they have. You kill because you remember why. That's not dangerous. That's unforgiving. And unforgiving is exactly what the North needs right now.
Arya Stark is the deadliest face I own. It always was. Every other face I wore was just a way to get close enough to use it.
Then stop standing here talking to a tree and go show those northern lords what an unforgiving Stark looks like.
In the weeks that follow, the North transforms. The Boltons are gone. Roose was found dead in his chamber, poisoned by his own Maester, who had been corresponding with Arya's network for months. Ramsay was killed by his own hounds after a servant left the kennel gates unlatched. The Northern Lords gather at Winterfell. They have all heard the stories. Some are afraid. All of them respect what she accomplished. Arya stands before them in the Great Hall. She wears no armor and carries no sword. She does not need to.
I know what you've heard about me. Some of it is true. All of it should concern you. I am Arya Stark of Winterfell, and I am the last of my father's blood standing in this hall. I took back my home without an army. I did it with servants and kitchen boys and washerwomen. The people you walk past every day without seeing. They opened the gates. They carried my messages. They risked their lives when none of you risked yours. Remember that, because those same people are still in your castles, still pouring your wine, still watching everything you do. If you rule the North justly, you have nothing to fear. If you rule it the way the Boltons did, you will not see me coming, and you will not see me leave.
The hall is silent. Then the lords kneel, not because they want to, because they understand what happens to lords who don't. That night, Arya stands on the walls of Winterfell, looking north. The snow falls thick and steady.
So, Lady of Winterfell, you threatened every lord in the North on your first day. That's a bold approach.
I didn't threaten them. I informed them. There's a difference. A threat is something you might not follow through on. I don't make threats.
No, you don't. That's what makes you terrifying. Will you stay here?
The North needs a Stark. I'm the one that's left, so I'll stay. But I'm not putting away the faces, and I'm not pretending to be some gentle lady of the castle. The lords can call me what they like. They can smile at me in court and curse my name in their solar, but they'll think twice before they cross the small folk, and that's all that matters.
Will you have me stay?
Someone has to make sure I don't start poisoning the Northern Lords when they bore me at council meetings.
You're joking.
I'm mostly joking.
Gods help the North.
Arya almost smiles. Below them, the courtyard is alive with torchlight and voices. The old boundaries between highborn and lowborn have not disappeared, but they have shifted. Something has changed in Westeros, something that cannot be undone. In the days that follow, word spreads. The Boltons are gone. Winterfell belongs to a Stark again. But the story that travels fastest is not about armies or battles. It is about servants who opened the gates of the most famous castle in the North. It is about a girl who served wine to the men who killed her family, and then killed every one of them. That story reaches every kitchen, every stable, every servant's quarter in the Seven Kingdoms. And it does not inspire hope, it inspires fear. Fear among the lords who hear it, and wonder if their own servants are watching. Fear among the men who broke oaths and betrayed their liege lords, and thought there would be no reckoning. The reckoning came wearing a serving girl's face. and it will come again. Arya Stark came home, not as a hero, not as a queen, as something the Seven Kingdoms have never seen and cannot control. An unforgiving ghost with 100 faces and a memory that holds every debt. The faceless men taught her how to disappear. The Hound taught her how to be cold enough to survive what came next. And Westeros will never be the same. That's my view of this alternate timeline. Westeros is a land filled with exciting stories and endless possibilities, and we are here to uncover them with you. If you want to accompany us on this journey across the Seven Kingdoms and beyond, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.